Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, I want to have a real conversation with you, especially if you're in your 50s, 60s, or beyond. I want to talk about something that sits right in the middle of your dinner plate. Something simple, something most of us think we already understand. Fish. There's an old saying, red meat isn't as good as poultry, and poultry isn't as good as fish. And you know what? That's basically true. Fish is fantastic protein. It's lower in saturated fat. It's generally great for your heart. But here's the thing I see in my clinic every single week. By the time we reach our 50s and 60s, our teeth aren't what they used to be. Our digestion isn't as strong. A tough piece of beef or a heavy fatty pork chop can sit in your stomach for hours. You feel bloated. You feel uncomfortable. You might even have to get up in the middle of the night and reach for an antacid. So a tender piece of fish, that becomes your best friend. It's soft, it's easy to chew, it's gentle on an older stomach, but here's the problem. I talk to my patients and I talk to friends, neighbors, people at community events, and I've noticed something concerning. Most people get stuck on the same two fish. They go to the grocery store, Walmart, Kroger, Publix, doesn't matter, and they grab either ribbon fish or crucian carp. And look, those aren't bad fish. Ribbon fish has nice thick fillets with few bones, pan fried. It's crispy and satisfying. Crucian carp is cheap and makes a beautiful milky white soup. But if we step back and think about what our bodies actually need as we age, especially brain health, immune strength, and easy digestion, those two fish are not actually your best choices. Let me explain why crucian carp, that soup, is delicious. I won't argue with that. But those tiny hair-like bones, they are a nightmare for older adults. I cannot tell you how many times my colleagues in the emergency room have had to pull those little bones out of a patient's throat. Sometimes it's simple, sometimes we have to use a scope. That's not a healthy dinner, that's an unnecessary medical procedure. And ribbon fish, most people fry it. Or they cook it in a heavy, salty, sweet sauce to cover any fishy taste. By the time you're done, the health benefits of the fish are completely drowned out by the oil and sodium. One plate of that and your blood pressure and triglycerides are not happy. So today, I want to help you upgrade your shopping list. I want to introduce you to 4 different fish. Some of them you may have tried, some of them you may have thought were too expensive, some of them you might have just never known what to do with. But here's what they all have in common: tender, easy to digest meat, few or no tiny bones, nutrients that specifically support your aging brain and your immune system. We always say eating well is the best way to save on medical bills. Today, I'm going to walk you through not just why to eat these fish, but how to cook them with simple methods, basic ingredients, and no complicated techniques. If you care about your brain health and your family's brain health, and you want to know how to eat fish that actually makes you feel sharper and stronger, please hit that subscribe button right now. Here on this channel, we only tell you the truth, no gimmicks, no fear mongering, just practical, science-based advice that works in a real kitchen. And if you like what we're sharing, drop a 1 in the comments, just the number 1. That tells me you're here to learn, and please share your own experiences below. I read them. All right, enough setup. Let's meet our first fish. Fish number 1, swamp eel. Doctor, our first fish is one that some of you might recognize from specialty markets. It's called swamp eel, and in some traditional systems of medicine, it's been called ginseng from the water in nutrition science. Some researchers call it a DHA warehouse. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you. When many Americans see swamp eel for the first time, their first reaction is, no, absolutely not. That looks like a snake. It's long, it's slippery, it moves in a way that makes some people uncomfortable. I get it, I really do. But please don't judge this fish by its cover. In my professional opinion, swamp eel is one of the most underrated foods for people over 50. It is genuinely ugly on the outside and genuinely brilliant on the inside. Let me break down why I'm such a fan. First, brain health. What are we most afraid of as we get older? It's not gray hair. It's not a few wrinkles. It's losing our sharpness, losing our memory, losing our ability to think clearly. Have you ever had that moment where you put your glasses down, turn around for 2 seconds, and then spend 10 minutes hunting for them? Or you walk into the kitchen to get something, and then you just stand there staring at the refrigerator because you can't remember what you came for, or someone tells a joke and everyone else laughs right away, but you need an extra few seconds to get it. That's not just getting older, that's your brain cells communicating more slowly. The connections aren't as fast as they used to be, the signal is weaker. Swamp eel contains 2 things that directly help with this. DHA, you've heard of DHA. It's in all those commercials for prenatal vitamins and baby formula. But here's what those commercials don't tell you: older adults need DHA just as much, maybe more than babies. Think of your brain cells as tiny rooms. The walls of those rooms are made of fat, specifically DHA. When you don't have enough DHA, those walls get stiff. It's like a door hinge that hasn't been oiled in years. Nutrients can't get in, waste can't get out, messages between brain cells get slow or lost. Eating DHA-rich foods is like oiling those hinges. Lecithin. That's a bigger word, so let me simplify. Your brain uses lecithin to make a chemical called acetylcholine. Think of acetylcholine as your brain's FedEx driver. It carries messages from one part of your brain to another. When you have plenty of lecithin, those messages move quickly. Your memory is sharper, your thinking is clearer. When you're low on lecithin, those messages get delayed or lost. So yes, eating swamp eel is genuinely good for your aging brain. It helps slow down cognitive decline, and there is real science behind that. Second, immune system. By the time we reach our 60s and 70s, our immune system isn't as aggressive as it used to be. That's just biology. We don't make as many new immune cells. Our body responds more slowly to viruses and bacteria. That's why flu season hits older adults harder. That's why a simple cold can turn into pneumonia. Swamp eel has something that directly helps with this: selenium. Selenium is a trace mineral, meaning your body only needs a tiny amount. But that tiny amount is incredibly powerful. Think of selenium as your body's special forces team. Its job is to hunt down and destroy things called free radicals. Free radicals are like exhaust fumes from your body's engine. Every time your body creates energy, it creates free radicals as a byproduct. And if those free radicals aren't neutralized, they damage your cells, they damage your blood vessels, they can even damage your DNA, which increases your cancer risk. Selenium stops that from happening. It's one of your body's most important antioxidants. And here's the problem: as we age, our bodies absorb selenium less efficiently. Many older adults are walking around with low selenium levels without even knowing it. Swamp eel is one of the richest natural sources of selenium you can eat. Eating it is like putting on an invisible bulletproof vest for your immune system. Third, traditional wisdom. Now, I'm a Western trained physician. I practice evidence-based medicine. But I also respect that different cultures have used foods like swamp eel for centuries with good results. From that perspective, swamp eel is considered warming. It's thought to be especially helpful for people who always feel cold: cold hands, cold feet, cold knees, people whose joints ache when the weather changes. The ones who say my knee is a better weather forecast than the TV news. People who feel like they have no energy, like their battery is always at 20%. Whether you believe in that framework or not, the nutrition science is clear. This fish is genuinely good for you. How to cook swamp eel the healthy way. Now, the million-dollar question. How do you actually eat this thing without feeling like you're on a survival show? Forget the heavy, oily, salty restaurant versions. In many restaurants, swamp eel is stir-fried or braised with lots of oil, lots of salt, lots of spicy sauce. That's fine for a younger palate, but for us, it's too harsh, too much sodium, too much fat. For us, I strongly recommend a gentle, nourishing soup that I call the warm hug soup. Officially, it's swamp eel and yam soup. The logic behind this combination is actually very clever, even from a Western nutrition perspective. Let me walk you through it. What you'll need: 2 swamp eels. When you buy them, look for eels with a yellowish brown back and a lighter yellowish belly. That usually means they're either wild or raised in better conditions. The ones that are completely black and unnaturally thick, probably not great quality. Ask the fishmonger to clean them and remove the bone. Then cut them into bite-sized pieces, about 1 to 2 inches long, about 200 grams of Chinese yam. And I'm specific here, it has to be the sticky, starchy kind, sometimes called nagaimo or Chinese yam, not the sweet potato yam you eat on Thanksgiving. A few red dates, you can find these in the dried fruit section of most Asian groceries or online. A few slices of fresh ginger. Step 1, remove the slime. This is the step most people skip, and it's why their eel tastes fishy. That slippery coating on the eel. That's where a lot of the smell lives. Rub the eel pieces with a little salt and a little vinegar. Let it sit for about 5 minutes. Then rinse with warm water. The slime will come right off, and so will most of the fishy smell. Step 2, sear the eel. Heat a small amount of oil in a pot, just enough to coat the bottom. Add the eel pieces and cook them on medium-low heat. Don't rush this. Listen for that gentle sizzle. Watch the skin turn golden brown on both sides. This step is critical. When you sear the fish, the proteins change in a way that will make your soup turn milky white later. If you skip this step, your soup will be thin and clear instead of rich and creamy. Step 3, add boiling water. Never cold water. This is not negotiable. If you add cold water, the proteins in the fish will seize up like they're scared. Your soup will be thin, cloudy, and not nearly as flavorful. If you add boiling water, the soup will turn rich and milky white. That's where the magic happens. Step 4, add your other ingredients. Add the yam chunks, the red dates, and the ginger slices. Bring everything back to a boil, then reduce the heat to low. Cover the pot and let it simmer for about 1 hour. During that hour, your kitchen will start to smell incredible. That's the smell of real food cooking slowly. Step 5, season simply. After an hour, lift the lid. The soup should be thick and creamy white. The yam should be soft, almost melting. The eel should be tender enough to fall apart with a spoon. Now, do not reach for chicken bouillon or MSG or artificial flavor enhancers. You don't need them. Just add a pinch of salt. If you like, a tiny sprinkle of white pepper, maybe some chopped scallions or a little cilantro on top. That's it. When you take that first sip, you will feel warmth spreading from your throat down to your stomach and out to your fingers and toes. The flavor is not from spices or chemicals, it's from the ingredients themselves. Why this combination works: the eel gives you DHA, lecithin, selenium, and high quality protein. The yam is gentle on your stomach and helps with nutrient absorption. The red dates add a touch of natural sweetness and a little extra iron. The ginger warms you up and settles your digestion. This soup is perfect for anyone who is always cold, especially in winter, people recovering from an illness or a surgery, older adults who feel low energy and run down, anyone who has trouble digesting heavier foods. Many of my patients tell me that after drinking this soup regularly for a few weeks, their energy is better. Their hands and feet aren't as cold. They just feel more solid. Don't let the way it looks scare you away. Try it once. I think you'll be surprised. Fish number 2, sea bass, doctor. All right, let's talk about our second fish. This one is much more familiar to most Americans. It's gentle, it's mild, its meat is white as snow. It's perfect for people with sensitive stomachs or weaker digestion. It's sea bass. There's a reason people have loved sea bass for thousands of years. Even ancient poets wrote about how good this fish is. First, easy digestion. This is the number one reason I recommend sea bass to my older patients. Remember when you were younger and you had a stomach made of iron? You could eat anything. A whole plate of barbecue ribs, no problem. A spicy sausage sandwich at midnight, fine. But now you try to eat a couple of bites of pot roast or a few bites of steak, and your stomach starts complaining. It feels heavy, it feels stuck. Sometimes you can't sleep well because you're so uncomfortable and you have to get up and find something to help with digestion. Why does this happen? Because as we age, our stomach produces less acid, our intestines don't contract as strongly, the muscles that push food through our system get weaker, high fat, high fiber, or tough meats just take too long to break down. Sea bass solves this problem because its muscle fibers are very short. Think of it like this: a steak is long. Thick muscle fibers that your stomach has to work hard to pull apart. Sea bass fibers are short and delicate. Your stomach barely has to do anything. A few gentle contractions and that fish is already broken down and ready to be absorbed. That means you get all the protein and nutrients without any of the bloating or discomfort. I recommend sea bass to people recovering from surgery or a hospital stay, anyone going through cancer treatment who needs easy protein, older adults who have lost their appetite or feel full too quickly. Even little kids who are just starting to eat solid food, sea bass nourishes you without exhausting you. That's the highest level of good food. Second, brain and nerve health. Sea bass is also excellent for your nervous system. It's quietly impressive in this area, like the other fish we've talked about. Sea bass has good protein and healthy fats, but it has one special advantage: vitamin bone 2. Please remember that name, vitamin bone 2. In my neurology referrals and in my own clinic, I see this all the time. An older patient comes in very worried. They say, "Doc, my hands and feet have been tingling. It feels like ants crawling on my skin. Sometimes when I walk, it feels like stepping on cotton or foam, and my thinking just feels slower. Am I having a stroke?" We do the tests. We order a CT scan or an MRI. The brain looks fine. The blood vessels look fine. No tumor. Then we run a simple blood test, and very often the answer is severe vitamin bone 2 deficiency. Here's why that matters. Vitamin bone 2 is essential for the insulation around your nerves. Think of your nerves as electrical wires. Every wire has a plastic coating. That's the insulation. In your body, vitamin bone 2 maintains that insulation. It's called the myelin sheath. When your bone 2 gets low, that insulation breaks down. The nerve leaks electricity, signals get slow or scrambled. That's when you feel tingling, numbness, balance problems, and memory issues. And here's the problem: Vitamin B2 is almost only found in animal products. Plants don't have it, so if you've been eating very lightly, maybe just rice, vegetables, a little tofu, you can easily become deficient, or if your stomach doesn't absorb nutrients well anymore, same problem. Sea base gives you a rich source of bone too in a form that's easy to digest and absorb. Third, a hidden mineral, copper. Most people have heard of iron for blood health, calcium for bones, magnesium for muscles, but copper, nobody talks about copper. Copper is actually essential for your immune system. It's part of several important enzymes that help your white blood cells do their job. Copper helps your body produce white blood cells, and it helps those white blood cells swallow up bacteria more effectively. If you're low on copper, you might notice you catch every cold that goes around the office or your book club. Small cuts or scrapes take forever to heal. A minor injury gets infected easily. You just feel run down and sickly for no clear reason. Sea base is a great natural source of copper. Fourth, fluid balance from a more traditional perspective. Sea base is also known for helping with mild swelling or puffiness. And honestly, this matches what I see in my patients. Have you ever woken up in the morning, looked in the mirror, and your eyelids are puffy like little peaches? Or you sit for a while watching a movie, playing cards, taking a long car ride, and when you stand up, your ankles look swollen. You push on the skin with your thumb and it leaves a dent that takes a few seconds to disappear. In Western medicine, we call that mild edema. It's often related to circulation or sometimes just gravity in more traditional frameworks. It's described as the water moving system not working quite right. Sea base, especially when prepared simply without a lot of salt, can help with this. It's gentle, it supports your body's natural fluid balance without being harsh on your kidneys. How to cook sea base the perfect way. For a fish as delicate and clean as sea base, heavy sauces and complicated spice blends are honestly a waste. You're covering up what makes it good. I only recommend one method for sea base: steaming. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Doc, I've tried steaming fish at home. It came out rubbery. It was fishy. Nothing like what I get at a Chinese restaurant or a good seafood place. I hear you, and I'm going to teach you exactly how to fix that. Steaming fish is simple, but it's not easy. There are several small tricks that make all the difference. Let me give you the complete step by step. Step one, choose the right fish. Don't buy a giant sea bass. Look for one that's about 1 pound, roughly 600 grams. That's the perfect size. Any smaller and there's not enough meat and too many bones. Any larger and the muscle fibers are already getting tough and chewy. Check the fish's eyes. They should be clear and bright, not cloudy. The gills should be red or pink, not brown or gray. When you press the flesh with your finger, it should spring back. If it leaves a dent, that fish has been sitting too long. Step two, clean it thoroughly. Rinse the fish inside and out. Now look inside the belly. You'll see a dark membrane, almost black. That's a source of bitter, fishy flavor. Scrape it out with your fingernail or a small spoon. Also, run your finger along the backbone. You'll feel a dark red line, that's congealed blood. Scrape that out too. Rinse until the bone looks white and clean. This step alone will remove most of the fishy taste. Step three, score the fish. Take a sharp knife and make 2 or 3 shallow diagonal cuts along the thickest part of the fish's back. Don't cut all the way to the bone, just through the skin and into the first layer of meat. Why do this? Because the back of the fish is thick and the belly is thin. If you don't score the back, the belly will be overcooked and dry by the time the back is done. Scoring helps everything cook at the same speed. Step 4, lightly season. Many people make the mistake of using a ton of salt, rice wine, and soy sauce as a marinade. Don't do that. Sea base is naturally sweet and clean. It doesn't need a bath. Just rub the fish with a tiny amount of rice wine or dry sherry if you don't have rice wine, and a tiny pinch of salt. Let it sit for about 10 minutes. That's enough. Step 5, the elevator trick. Get a plate that fits inside your steamer or your pot. Lay down several slices of fresh ginger and several segments of scallion, green onion on the plate, then place the fish on top of them. You're elevating the fish so that steam can circulate underneath it. That means the bottom cooks at the same time as the top. Also, any fishy liquid that cooks out of the fish will drip down onto the plate and away from the fish. If the fish just sits flat on the plate, it basically stews in its own fishy juices. The elevator prevents that. Step 6, high heat, full steam. Bring your steamer or your pot of water to a full rolling boil. The water should be bubbling aggressively. Then put the plate with the fish into the steamer, cover immediately. Never start with cold water. Never put the fish in before the water is boiling. If you do, the fish will cook slowly and the proteins will seize up in a way that makes the meat tough and dry. Step 7, time it perfectly. Steam for 8 to 10 minutes, no more, for a 1 pound fish. 8 minutes is usually perfect for a slightly larger fish. 10 minutes, set a timer, do not guess. Every extra minute beyond that makes the fish noticeably less tender. Step 8, rest and dump. When the timer goes off, turn off the heat, leave the fish in the covered steamer for 2 more minutes. This is called resting, and it lets the heat finish cooking the thickest parts without overcooking the thin parts. Then carefully take the plate out. Here's the step almost everyone gets wrong. Pour out all the liquid that has accumulated on the plate. That liquid is not broth. It's not sauce. It's fishy, bitter, and unpleasant. Get rid of every drop. Also, remove the ginger and scallion from underneath. They've done their job and they're wilted and sad now. Throw them away. Step 9, fresh aromatics. Cut fresh ginger into very thin strips. Cut fresh scallion into similar thin strips. Arrange them on top of the fish. If you like a little heat and color, add a few thin slices of red bell pepper or red chili. Step 10, the sizzle. Heat a few tablespoons of a neutral oil like avocado oil, grapeseed oil, or canola oil in a small pan until it's very hot. You'll see shimmering and then just the first wisp of smoke. Take the hot oil and carefully pour it directly over the ginger and scallion strips on top of the fish. You will hear a loud, dramatic sizzle. That sizzle is the sound of the aromatics releasing their essential oils into the fish. The heat also tightens the fish skin and locks in moisture. Step 11, sauce and serve. Pour a small amount of soy sauce for fish or light soy sauce around the plate. Do not pour it directly on the fish. Pour it onto the plate next to the fish. That way, each bite can pick up exactly as much sauce as you want. Now look at what you've made. The fish should be glistening. The meat should separate into little flakes that look like flower petals or garlic cloves. Take a piece of that fish, dip it lightly in the sauce on the plate, and put it in your mouth. It should be sweet, tender, silky, and moist. No fishiness, just clean, pure flavor. This cooking method preserves almost all of the nutrients. There's no oil oxidation from frying, no nutrient loss from boiling. It's gentle on your stomach, won't make you feel hot or greasy, and is perfect for dinner alongside a bowl of congee or a simple salad. This is what I want on my dinner table. This is the moonlight of seafood, elegant, simple, and deeply nourishing. Fish number 3, cod. Doctor, now let's talk about our third fish. Some of you might look at the price tag and think, that's a little expensive. Isn't that just for kids or for special occasions? I'm here to tell you that cod is not just for kids or special occasions. It's deep sea gold for the whole family. First, omega-3s and vitamin D together. Most fish have one or the other. Cod has both. Omega-3 fatty acids are like the cleaning crew for your blood vessels. They help lower your triglycerides. That's a type of fat in your blood. They reduce inflammation throughout your body. They keep your artery walls flexible instead of stiff and brittle if you have high blood pressure or high cholesterol. Your doctor has probably already talked to you about omega-3s, and yes, you can take fish oil pills, but getting them from real food is almost always better. The real food version comes with other nutrients that work together. Vitamin D is the other half of the equation. Here's something that surprises a lot of my patients. You can take calcium supplements every single day. You can drink milk, you can eat yogurt. But if your vitamin D levels are low, your body cannot absorb that calcium. Vitamin D is the truck that delivers calcium from your gut into your bones. No truck, no delivery. All that calcium just passes right through you. You might as well be eating chalk. We get vitamin D from sunshine. But in winter, or if you live in a northern state, or if you just don't go outside much, your levels can drop. Cod gives you both omega-3s and vitamin D in one package. That's rare and valuable. Second, other minerals. Cod is also rich in magnesium and selenium. We already talked about selenium with the swamp eel. Magnesium helps with muscle function, nerve function, and blood pressure regulation. These minerals work together to support your immune system and fight inflammation. A serious warning, fake cod. I have to tell you about something called oilfish. Some people also call it escolar. Oilfish looks almost identical to cod when it's cut into white fillets. It's white, it's flaky, it's often much cheaper. You might see it at a discount grocery store or a suspiciously low price online, but oilfish contains a type of wax ester that the human body cannot digest. If you eat more than a small amount, you will experience something very unpleasant, oily orange diarrhea. Sometimes it leaks out without you even knowing it. It's not dangerous in a life-threatening way, but it is extremely embarrassing and uncomfortable. So how do you avoid this? Buy from a reputable grocery store, not a random discount store or an unknown online seller. Look for Atlantic cod or Pacific cod on the label. If you want the really high-end version, look for black cod or sablefish. It's more expensive, but incredibly buttery and delicious. If the price seems too good to be true, it probably is. You don't need to eat cod every day. Once a week is plenty. One small piece per person. Spend the money on the real thing. You're worth it. How to cook cod. Cod and tofu stew. This is one of my favorite weeknight dinners. It's warm, filling, and comes together in about 20 minutes. Why this combination is so smart: you're taking animal protein from the cod and plant protein from the tofu. They complement each other. The cod gives you omega-3s and vitamin D. The tofu gives you calcium and another type of healthy protein. Together, they're more nutritious than either one alone. What you'll need: about 200 grams of cod, cut into chunks, roughly 2-inch pieces, 1 block of soft or medium tofu, not silken, not extra firm. Soft or medium is the sweet spot. A few dried shiitake mushrooms soaked in hot water until soft, then sliced. Keep the soaking water, it's full of flavor. A few slices of fresh ginger, salt, and white pepper, chopped scallions for garnish. What to do? Pat the cod chunks dry with a paper towel. This is important. Dry fish browns better. Wet fish steams. Heat a small amount of oil in a pot. Sear the cod chunks on both sides until lightly golden. Don't move them around too much or they'll fall apart. Just let them sit and brown. Now add the mushrooms soaking water. If there's any grit at the bottom of the bowl, leave that behind or just use plain boiling water. The amount should be enough to cover the fish. Add the tofu cubes, the sliced mushrooms, and the ginger. Bring everything to a boil, then reduce the heat to medium-low. Simmer for about 15 minutes. During those 15 minutes, the soup will become cloudy and rich. The tofu will absorb the fish flavor like a sponge. Season with salt and a tiny pinch of white pepper. Garnish with scallions. Serve in deep bowls with a spoon. The texture of this dish is wonderful. The cod is firm but flaky. The tofu is silky and soft. The mushrooms add an earthy depth. The broth is light but savory. For anyone watching their cholesterol or blood pressure, or anyone who just wants a warm, comforting meal without a lot of fuss. This is a winner. Fish number 4, yellow catfish. Doctor, finally, let's talk about our fourth fish. This one looks a little strange. It's yellow, it has no scales, it's slippery. Some people call it yellow catfish or barbel catfish or other regional names. Why am I recommending this fish? Because it is the best value for your money. It's the king of soups, and it's incredibly forgiving to cook. First, almost no tiny bones. Yellow catfish has one single central spine. That's it. No tiny hair-like bones, no hidden little spikes, no surprises. For my older patients and anyone else who is nervous about choking on a fish bone, this is a game changer. You can eat yellow catfish without fear. You can give it to your parents or grandparents without worrying. You can put a piece on a child's plate without hovering over them. You can actually enjoy your meal instead of eating like a nervous detective. Second, brain and nerve support. Yellow catfish is rich in phospholipids and various amino acids. These are the building blocks for your brain's messenger chemicals. They help with nerve function and can reduce that feeling of brain fog when your head feels heavy and you just can't think clearly. Sometimes you just feel dull, not sad, not tired exactly, just not sharp. A bowl of yellow catfish soup with its clean, savory flavor can wake up your taste buds and your brain at the same time. Third, immune support. Like the other fish we've discussed, yellow catfish contains a good range of minerals and vitamins. It's not the highest in any one thing, but it's a solid, reliable source of general immune support. Fourth, fluid balance and appetite. From a more traditional perspective, yellow catfish is known for helping with two things: stimulating a sluggish appetite and reducing mild puffiness. If you've lost interest in food, everything tastes bland, nothing sounds good. The gentle flavor of yellow catfish can sometimes open the door for your digestion. It wakes up your stomach without overwhelming it. And if you feel heavy and puffy, like your body is holding onto too much water, this fish is known to help with that as well. How to cook yellow catfish and adzuki bean soup. This is a classic soup for people who feel weak, puffy, or both. What you'll need: 2 yellow catfish cleaned, 50 grams of adzuki beans, a small piece of dried tangerine peel optional. You can find this in the spice or dried goods section of an Asian grocery. 3 slices of fresh ginger, salt, and white pepper. Important note: adzuki beans are small, dark red beans. They are not the same as kidney beans. They are not the same as red beans used in Mexican cooking. They have a slightly sweet, nutty flavor, and they are hard. You must soak them for at least 2 hours before cooking. Overnight is even better. If you don't soak them, they will stay crunchy no matter how long you cook them. What to do? Pat the fish dry. Sear them lightly in a pot with a little oil until both sides are lightly golden. Do not skip this step. Searing removes any fishy smell and adds depth to the soup. Add the soaked and drained adzuki beans, the ginger, and the tangerine peel if you're using it. Add enough boiling water to cover everything by about an inch. Bring to a boil, then reduce the heat to low. Cover the pot and simmer for 1 full hour. During that hour, the beans will soften and start to break down. The soup will turn a warm reddish brown color. The fish will become so tender that the meat falls off the spine with a gentle touch. After an hour, season with salt and a little white pepper. That's it when you drink the soup. Pay attention to how you feel afterward. Many people notice that the heavy weighed down feeling lifts, your stomach feels comfortable, your appetite wakes up. This is the soup I recommend for anyone who says, "Doc, I just feel blah, like my body is full of wet cement." Important safety rules, doctor. Okay, we've covered a lot of good food. But as a family physician, I have a responsibility to give you the safety warnings that most YouTube videos leave out. Please hear me on these 4 points. Do not skip this part. 1. Avoid salted fish and heavily grilled fish for everyday eating. I know salted fish is traditional in many cultures. Grilled fish from a summer barbecue is delicious. The smoky char is wonderful. But here's the truth. The World Health Organization has classified salted fish as a Group 1 carcinogen. That means there's strong, consistent evidence that it causes cancer, specifically nasopharyngeal cancer. The salt and the preservation process create compounds that damage tissues over time, and charcoal grilled fish, when fat drips onto hot coals or flames, it creates chemicals called polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PABH. Those are also carcinogens, the black. Charred parts of grilled meat and fish contain these compounds. Does this mean you can never eat grilled fish again? Of course not. A piece of grilled salmon at a summer cookout once or twice a year is fine, but do not make salted fish or heavily grilled fish a weekly habit. At our age, our metabolism is slower, our bodies are less efficient at clearing out these toxins. For your everyday fish meals, stick to steaming, poaching, light pan searing, or stewing. That's the healthy path too. Don't blindly chase wild. Many of my patients assume wild fish is always better than farmed fish. They'll pay twice as much for wild-caught salmon or wild-caught whatever, and sometimes that's true. Wild salmon often has a better fat profile than farmed salmon, but here's the other side of that coin. Wild fish come from uncontrolled environments. You don't know what's in that water. You don't know about heavy metals like mercury and lead. You don't know about microplastics. You don't know about parasites. High quality farmed fish raised in controlled conditions with regular testing and clean water can actually be safer, especially for older adults. The key words are high quality farmed. Don't buy the cheapest farmed fish from an unknown source. Buy from reputable grocery stores.